They needed this. After all the talk, after the criticism, after being embarrassed in prime time just a couple weeks ago, the Philadelphia Eagles came out and made a statement. Not just a win, a total domination over a division rival. 38 event. Over 400 yards of offense. A performance that had fans on their feet and left the Giants' days from start to finish. This wasn't just about redemption. This was about proving a point. And the Eagles proved it with every snap. From the very beginning, you could feel it. The intensity, the urgency. The Eagles came out flying, and it started with Saquon Barkley. Yes, the former Giant taking it 70 yards to the house on the second play of the game. That wasn't just a touchdown. That was a message. A message to his old team, to the fans, and honestly, to the rest of the league. That opening run was electric. It got the crowd going, it set the tone, and it immediately shifted all the momentum to Philadelphia's side. From there, the Birds never looked back. Jalen Hurts was absolutely locked in. Efficient, calm, decisive. He went Quins to Vint, 179 yards, quattro touchdowns, no interceptions, and a quarterback rating through the roof. 141.5. That's what you call a clean sheet. And let's not forget, he did all this without A.J. Brown, without Cam Jurgens. And yet, the offense didn't skip a beat. That's what elite quarterbacks do. They make everyone around them better. And Hurts is doing exactly that. You had Devonta Smith stepping up with another solid game. Jan Dotson, Dallas Goedert, Saquon again, Xavier Gibson, all getting touches, all contributing. It was a complete effort. And let's talk about the ground game for a second. Because for the first time this season, it truly came alive. Trenta e tres corridas. Duzentos e setenta e seis jardas. Mais de oito jardas por tentativa. That's absurd. That's the kind of rushing attack that could demoralize a defense. That's the kind of balance that turns a good team into a great one. And Tank Bigsby, remember when everyone questioned that trade? 2 picks for a guy who couldn't even return a kick? Well, Tank ran like a man possessed. Nove corridas, cento y cuatro jardas. Mais de once jardas por tentativa. He looked like a battering ram with wheels. And the way he broke tackles, the way he stayed on his feet and turned what looked like a 2-yard run into 17, that's the kind of effort that wins games in December and January. He's bringing power, he's bringing attitude, and maybe, just maybe, the Eagles found something special in that backfield tandem with Saquon. Now, defensively, my goodness, this is the kind of performance fans have been waiting for. 5 sacks on Jackson Dart, 6 quarterback hits, somewhere between Quins and Vint pressures. Constant disruption. The Giants' quarterback never looked comfortable, and he shouldn't have. The Eagles' pass rush was relentless. Jix Hunt is heating up. Josh Sweat is doing his thing. And even with some pieces missing, this unit is finding its rhythm at the perfect time. The secondary? Lights out. They kept everything in front of them. They tackled well. And they played with that edge, that swagger that's been missing at times this year. It wasn't just about execution. It was about attitude. You could see it in the way they flew to the ball, the way they celebrated stops. After being embarrassed a few weeks ago, this defense showed up with something to prove. And they backed it up. Now, look, a lot of people want to talk about the officiating. And yes, it was bad. One of the worst called games we've seen all year. There were missed calls, questionable flags, and moments that just left you scratching your head. But here's the thing. The Eagles didn't win because of the refs. They won because they were better. Period. They outplayed, outcoached, and outworked the Giants in every single phase. Were there calls that went Philly's way? Sure. Were there some that helped New York? Definitely. But none of it changed the outcome of this game. The Eagles were simply dominant. And how about the coaching staff? Big Fong calling an aggressive game on defense. Kevin Patullo dialing up creative looks on offense. You saw motion. You saw under center snaps. You saw play-action passes, screen plays, gap scheme runs. This was one of the most well-called, well-designed offensive efforts of the year. And the players executed. That's how you know things are starting to click. You're seeing the identity form. You're seeing a team that knows who they are and what they want to be. People have been asking all season, when will the Eagles put it all together? When will they look like that championship-caliber squad we know they can be? Well, if the last 2 games are any indication, especially this one, they're answering those questions. Back-to-back wins. Offense humming. Defense aggressive. Special teams clean. This is the version of the Eagles fans have been waiting to see. But it's more than just stats and scores. It's about mentality. It's about how they responded to adversity. Think back to that Thursday night loss to the Giants. Embarrassing. Lifeless. They looked flat, they looked soft. The Giants treated that win like it was the Super Bowl, and they rubbed it in. And you better believe the Eagles took note. Saquon said it himself. The way New York celebrated that night lit a fire under this team. And that flame burned bright in this rematch. Forcento's event EC Jardas de Atake total. Dominance on the ground. Hurts lighting it up through the air. Physicality. Emotion. Focus. Everything you want to see from a team heading into the bye week. Because now the Eagles get a chance to breathe, to recover, to reload. And when they come out on the other side, Lambeau Field, Week 10, against the Packers. A huge NFC showdown with serious playoff implications. And don't let the Giants' record fool you. This was a tough, gritty, desperate team that came in swinging. But Philly punched harder. They played with fire. They played with pride. And it looked like a team that's ready to make a run. You look at this roster and what they've done these last 2 weeks, and it's clear the Eagles are very much in the conversation as one of the best teams in the league. They're not peaking early. That's not how this coaching staff works. Under Nick Sirianni, the goal has always been to build slowly, to figure out who you are in the first half of the season, and hit full stride down the stretch. And if this is what the beginning of that climb looks like, watch out, because when this team is locked in, when the offense is balanced, when the defense is aggressive, and when Hurts is playing like this, they can beat anyone, anywhere. So what's the vibe going into the bye? Confidence, swagger, momentum. The Eagles are flying high, and it feels earned, not given. Earned through adjustments, through hard hits, through smart football, through 2 straight wins where they not only won, they sent a message. And after that embarrassing Thursday night loss earlier in the year, this was personal. This was payback, and it tasted good. And yet, even with all the positives, this game had its moments of controversy. Moments that could have flipped the script if the Eagles weren't so dialed in. Giants fans will scream about officiating until they're blue in the face, but let's not pretend like this was a game stolen by the referees. Were there questionable calls? Absolutely. But when you're down by multiple touchdowns for most of the game, officiating is not your main problem. Still, it's worth diving into some of those moments because they're going to dominate the conversation on social media and sports radio. Start with the Cam Skattebo touchdown. Giants fans furious over the no call, claiming Nico Dean was tackled, and they might have a point there. That could have easily been flagged for offensive pass interference or holding, but it wasn't. Then you flip it and look at the Jackson Dart strip sack that was ruled a forward pass. That one, honestly, that looked like a clear fumble. His arm wasn't moving forward with control. The ball came loose, and the Eagles pounced on it. But instead, the refs let it slide. No fumble. Giants keep possession. That's a momentum-changing moment that didn't go Philly's way. So yes, it was a badly officiated game, but both sides got burned by it. Then there was the offensive pass interference on Darius Slayton. Giants fans losing their minds over that one, saying it was clean. And yeah, when you slow it down frame by frame, you could argue it was light contact, but in real time, it looked like a clear push-off. Enough to create separation. Enough to draw a flag. Maybe in a tighter game, that one stings more. But down 18 points late in the fourth, that's not the hill you want to die on. At that point, the game is already slipping away. And as for the so-called hip drop tackle on Skattebo, come on, that wasn't a dirty play. That was a football play. He came down awkwardly because the ball was thrown behind him and he had to twist midair just to make the catch. That's on Jackson Dart, not on the Eagles defender. And let's also not pretend like Eagles fans are out here celebrating injuries. When Cam Skattebo went down, 70,000 people rose to their feet and applauded. That's respect. That's class. You don't see that enough, and nobody wants to talk about it. Mainstream media is quick to paint Philly fans as villains, but they won't mention how the entire stadium showed love to a player who was clearly in pain, carted off with an air cast. That's real sportsmanship. And while yes, there are bad eggs in every fan base, Just look at the tweets from some Giants fans wishing injuries on Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. Let's not act like one side's morally superior. This rivalry is intense. It's emotional. That's the Northeast for you. Boston, New York, Philly were cut from the same cloth. Passionate, loud, and sometimes over the top. Back to the football. One name that deserves a shout-out is Landon Dickerson. He's been battling injuries all year, hasn't quite looked like himself. But on that long Saquon touchdown run, he delivered a crushing block that opened the lane. That's vintage Dickerson. That's the guy Eagles fans know can dominate when he's healthy. And if he's starting to turn a corner physically, that's massive for this offensive line. Because let's be real, they've been banged up. Cam Jurgens is out. Lane Johnson's been in and out. And yet, they still managed to pave the way for nearly 300 yards on the ground against a tough Giants front. That speaks volumes about the coaching, the depth, and the toughness of that unit. And speaking of toughness, let's not ignore how physical this game was. These teams don't like each other. That was clear from the very first whistle. There was pushing, shoving, trash talk after nearly every play. And honestly, that's how it should be. This isn't just any rivalry. This is Philly versus New York. Two cities that have been taking swings at each other in every sport for decades. And when it spills onto the football field, it's beautiful chaos. The kind of chaos that makes the NFL special. You could feel the energy in the stadium. Every hit, every chant, every big play, it all meant more. Especially coming off that embarrassing loss a few weeks back. Now, a few more things worth spotlighting before heading into the bye. The Eagles' red zone offense, sharp, efficient, for touchdowns through the air. No wasted drives. That's a huge improvement from earlier in the season when they were settling for too many field goals. And on defense, they were aggressive. Didn't sit back. Didn't play it safe. They came after Dart. They forced him to speed up his process. They got hands in passing lanes. They collapsed the pocket. That's exactly what you want to see against a young quarterback. Confuse him, rattle him, and make him feel ghosts. And how about the coaching decisions? Nick Sirianni and his staff deserve credit for this one. They had this team ready. Emotionally, physically, and tactically. They didn't let the Giants get in their heads. They didn't panic after that Thursday night loss. They regrouped, adjusted, and executed. And Kevin Patullo, specifically, deserve a lot of love for how he's calling games right now. More under center looks. More motion. More misdirection. The halfback screen that went for a big gain. That's not something we saw early in the year. That's a mid-season adjustment. That's a play caller evolving with his personnel and his quarterback. He's finding rhythm with Hurts, and it's showing. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what is already being described as one of the most shocking moves in recent NFL history, the Philadelphia Eagles reportedly stunned the football world by announcing the acquisition of Buffalo Bills superstar quarterback Josh Allen. The news has sent shockwaves across the United States, leaving fans, analysts, and even rival team executives scrambling to process the potential implications of such a blockbuster move. Sources close to the situation suggest that discussions have been ongoing behind closed doors for weeks, though few could have predicted that the Eagles would pull the trigger on such a high-profile transaction. Allen, known for his powerful arm, mobility, and clutch performances, has been a cornerstone of the Bills' resurgence in recent years. His combination of size, athleticism, and leadership has made him one of the most coveted quarterbacks in the league, and speculation about his future has been a constant topic in sports media. Rumors of a potential trade have circulated in whispers since last season, but the confirmation of Allen joining the Eagles has elevated those whispers into full-blown headlines. The move represents a seismic shift for both franchises. Philadelphia, already a competitive force in the NFC, could be positioning itself as an immediate Super Bowl contender with Allen at the helm. The Eagles' offensive strategy, once built around a balanced attack and dynamic receiving core, is expected to undergo significant adjustments to maximize Allen's unique skill set. Meanwhile, Buffalo fans are grappling with the reality of losing the man who has carried their team through some of its most thrilling seasons in decades. Analysts are already speculating about how the Bills will respond in the offseason and whether a rebuild might be on the horizon. Insiders hint that the trade package involved multiple first-round picks and key players, underscoring the Eagles' commitment to winning now. Social media has exploded with reactions ranging from disbelief to outright celebration, with Eagles supporters envisioning a new era of dominance, while Bills faithful mourn the sudden departure of their quarterback hero. While neither franchise has released an official statement confirming the terms, the buzz around this transaction is undeniable. If this deal goes through as reported, it could redefine the landscape of the NFL for years to come, sparking debates and storylines that will dominate sports coverage heading into the next season. For now, all eyes are on Philadelphia, as fans and pundits alike try to imagine what it will look like when Josh Allen dons the green and white, taking the field with the Eagles' hopes and expectations riding squarely on his shoulders. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.